Lunchbox TV's review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's been a long time coming, and here we are. A few years ago, we didn't even think we would get this, and a few hashtags later, and we're here. We're here. We're all the better for it. We've grown. We've matured since then, and we have a lot of thoughts. So there will be spoilers, for one, and for two. My name is Alex, and I am accompanied by Lou.
Hello.
And Michelle.
Hello.
And now we will get to it. Some serious business here. Let's start, actually. First impressions. What are your initial thoughts? No spoilers to start. Just what do you think?
I will go first because I'm ready for whatever the internet throws at us in the comments. No, that's very dramatic. I like this movie a lot compared to the previous one. But I think if I'd only seen this version of the movie, I wouldn't like it. But because I'm comparing it, it's so much better than the previous one. It's still not that good a movie though. So that's where I'm at with it. I feel scared to share my opinion. Okay. Don't hate me, internet.
Yeah, please don't hate us. Same with Michelle. Comparing it to the Josh Whedon cut, it is 10 times better. It's more, the characters are more fleshed out, and it had overall a kind of a better flow to it than the first one. That said, I don't hate it. It was good, but I also don't really love it, and I guess we'll get to those points later on.
Okay, so I will say that right after my initial viewing, the 4 hours, I spent the day watching it. I really liked it. I was a real big fan of it. I thought it was good to get some DC content, and not just that, the characters that were sort of shoved aside, they were presented in a brand new way, whether for the better or for the worse, because there's a bit of both for a lot of the characters. We did get a fleshed out Cyborg, which is really important considering his role in the movie. I think the difference between Joss Whedon's and Zack Snyder's are completely night and day. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying which director is a better director. I'm just saying it could not have been easy for Joss Whedon to pick up, to get this catch from Zack Snyder and try to run for the touchdown, but including other elements from what made Avengers, that it wasn't going to work. It was going to be a big South clash. But in this 4-hour feature, we did get a singular vision. The first act, or at least what I felt was the first act, was really strong. Definitely the best part of the movie. It just sort of went downhill for me, but not horribly. However, I really liked it at first. Just the more days passed, the more I thought about it. The gears started moving. DC animated universe memories, started flooding back. The comics, multitude of comics I've read. I've got a different opinion of it now. But let's stay positive. Let's talk about what we like. You guys get the ball rolling. Whoever wants to talk about what they like. Come on. There's good stuff in there.
Good delay. No. I like some things. Okay. So just for for you guys and for viewers and anyone who doesn't know me in general, I read comics, but I'm not the comic person. So my knowledge of DC is primarily actually through the animated stuff. I watch all the animated DC content, which I adore. Animated DC content, top tier content, so spectacular. Let me say that. But in this movie, honestly, I was confused by a lot in the first version, and I was confused by a lot in the second version. But the thing that I liked in particular was everything Darkseid in this one. It felt like there's a real bad guy, there's real stakes, things make sense as to why they're happening. All the stuff with the mother boxes, I wasn't too I didn't get it initially. It felt like more explained in this one, or it felt clearer, at least to me. So I was able to kind of grasp that. I thought Darkseid was a cool character in general. I have such a hard time not comparing everything to Marvel at this point, because I'm like, okay, Darkseid, Thanos, same but different. So that felt a little sticky for me. And also Darkseid's buddy, Desaad, looks exactly like one of Thanos's people. Like exact, come on.
Sure. Sure.
But overall, I thought Darkseid felt like a better villain. Of course, Darkseid's not the true villain of this movie, so that was kind of where I got a little stuck. But Steppenwolf's new design looks bomb. So cool. Looks super duper cool. So like that part I liked. Visually, I liked this movie a lot. The darkness, the little bit of change of outfits. I really appreciated that part of the vision. I thought it worked for the movie overall. So that's kind of what I liked.
I like the that Cyborg was more fleshed out, and to me, actually, I think that Cyborg was the heart of this movie. He brought everything together, and same echoing with Michelle too. Darkseid was pretty cool, though I wish saw more of Darkseid, even though it's more Darkseid than what we got in the first cut of the movie. This was Darkseid is, believe us when you say Darkseid is a badass. And you can check Alex Explained. There's a book link right here. He explains the Darkseid. Darkseid is a badass.
Yeah.
Because I know that the executives were saying that they are not going to do any more of the Snyderverse. So that's why that hashtag restore the Snyderverse is now kind of trending, because we did get to see a really cool Darkseid. And that's what I liked about it.
I completely agree with the Darkseid. I'm a big Darkseid fanboy. That's why I did the Alex Explained on him, because like I unfortunately I don't think we're going to be getting much more of him in a live action movie. However, what we saw of him was really cool. The downside of that is that it drew away focus from Steppenwolf, who should have been the primary villain after all, and his motivations sort of took a backseat to the anti-life equation, which is more of a Darkseid thing. So villain motivations got a little muddled at that point. However, Darkseid was really cool in the scenes he was in. Flash, I thought he was like a lot of fun for the most part, when he wasn't, just like eyeballing Iris West in this really awkward wiener floating sexual innuendo thing.
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, besides that little misstep in the beginning, like the Flash was he actually were. I thought this movie wasn't going to have a lot of humor. The Flash did bring in some humor. It was well needed, well appreciated, in that sense. And Superman was all kinds of badass. Like it was crazy how good he looked. Like the effects, the powers, everything he did. It's like, whoa, that's really cool. And Wonder Woman was a cool character. Like you can't really go wrong with Wonder Woman at this point, because the blueprints are there for presenting her. I mean, for the most part, maybe not the music that chimes in every time she appears. That got a little
music
annoying.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
Yeah. I made a note of that one.
Literally, I have
I thought
three
I was
notes,
the only
and
one
that's the first note. That is my first note. It's always that song, and she only has one move, and it's like, bam, let me just shock you with this. Let me just do this 101 times because it worked the first time. Come on. We can do better than that.
Since Michelle got it started, we're going to move on from what we liked. No, that's fine. We're going to go from what we liked to what we didn't like. And guys, let's try something a little new. We'll have like a little stress ball, like this is therapy, okay? I'll start it. I will pass it on to Michelle once I'm done. Michelle, you pass it to Lou. Lou, you pass it to me. Just one thing each, okay? Just
okay. Fine.
One at a time.
So that it's not like a
stop the rants.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll break it up. So I'm gonna probably start with what's most important. And yes, it is nerdy, but it's a real big problem. I really believe Zack Snyder has just contempt for Superman. He could care less about the human aspects or what makes Superman such an icon and loved by millions. I think Zack Snyder sees these powers and is like, whoa, how can I get this dude to just chop off heads, heat blast people, do all this crazy shit like I see in Dragon Ball Z, and just work away from what makes Superman Superman. And I will say that, like, it began with his resurrection. He could not wait to get him in something black, away from the primary colors that we know and love Superman for. And his focus on this nightmare thing where Superman's this big bad villain killer. He just wants to write this Superman that's Homelander, that's just using his powers for evil. He doesn't want to be challenged by this story where, hey, this guy has all this power, but he doesn't want to use it. Instead, he just presents this sort of an out that's like, Lois Lane dies, he's evil, that's it. Let's prevent that from happening. Instead of looking at the fact that Lois Lane has died, he hasn't gone evil. He's there. He's not this crazy alien. Blah. I'm gonna end it right there. Michelle, take the ball, please. Take it away.
Okay. Taking. Wow. It's funny because my follow-up is kind of similar to that. So my follow-up and my like annoyance, dislike, is Zack Snyder made this movie knowing that there's not going to be any more movies. So why tease all the things? It just felt really shoehorned. A lot of things being thrown in there. So I did a deep dive. I did a Google. I watched a lot of interviews with Zack Snyder. I call him Snyder, just so
Snyder.
his name is Snyder. And the thing that particularly pissed me off is Martian Manhunter. How dare you waste my fave in this garbage flick? It was supposed to be a Green Lantern in that scene, is what Zack Snyder said to Vanity Fair, apparently. But they were like, the movie execs were like, no, we don't want to do any more Green Lantern stuff. I guess it's like so bad they can't do it. Even though they like threw a couple of hints of a guy in a couple scenes. So instead, he wasted Martian Manhunter in a way that didn't necessarily make sense. It felt really, really weird, really shoehorned in there. I absolutely hated it. I love the character, but his placement in the film was stupid and I hated it. And then there's all the other ones, but I will, when it circles back to me, I'll get to the other ones. So Lou, your turn.
So the length of this film, it didn't need to be 4 hours. I'm sure it could have been, he could have had like a really good version at 3 hours. I don't mind 3 hours, but 4 hours was a lot. There's, in the first hour, I think maybe 80% of the first hour was slow motion and just useless slow motion. Aquaman's walking to the water, everything is just slow. And there's this song, I can't remember what song it was, but
they were singing.
Just done a quick slow-mo jump in, that's fine. And then people looking up at the sky. Do you really need people? Do you need slow motion for an action of just kind of going up? No, you don't. That was what. The length was stupid. It was so dumb. I hate that. I love Zack Snyder's visuals usually, but then when you overuse slow motion, it's just why are you trying to do all of it in slow motion? Just come on, just give us a slow motion. Give us a 10-hour Snyder cut of just slow motion if you want that. Somebody get the ball.
Boom. Well, I will say this. You're absolutely right. There's no need for Lois Lane's introduction to be slow motion if we're just going through her day to day. She doesn't need to be slow mo exiting a coffee shop.
I forgot. Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah, completely unnecessary. Totally unnecessary. Yeah, and that's a stylistic thing. Yeah, there's just too much slow mo, and I think the length shows that whatever the original Snyder cut was gonna be, it was gonna be a piece of dog shit as well. So, because you just can't turn a 4-hour movie to a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Anyways, so since I have the ball, I previously mentioned Superman. I'm gonna mention Batman this time. Zack Snyder, I'm sure he loves Batman, but he hasn't presented Batman. The only Batman we've seen is the one who's sort of created these gauntlets, like, and for use. But if you notice, he's been completely useless in the entire movie until he has a friggin' gun. Once he has a gun, like Zack Snyder wanted to use the Punisher, not Batman. It's like, okay, so you want he's suddenly a marksman, Batman. In he's only used the Batarang and the grappling hook, but that's it. He's Batman suddenly the Punisher. Like in the comics, it's a funny thing that I make fun of that. Like for Batman to hang in with like the really powerful guys, he has to turn himself into like Iron Man. He needs a suit of armor, and like I'm more willing to accept that than I am to accept like a Batman using a gun that killed his parents. And all of a sudden he's all proficient with it. It really bugged me. Like it just shows the fundamentals of these characters that he's not getting because he'd rather do what's cool instead of like have Batman do something with his ingenuity.
That's I'm just gonna agree with you because that's not technically Batman's core. Like you said, use his ingenuity, use his smarts, figure out a way to do things, not just, you know what, I'm gonna just blast my way out of this. So Batman.
And if Batman's so willing to kill people, there's like crooks in Batman versus Superman. Like why wouldn't he just kill the Joker at any time? Like that's literally like the whole conceit of every other piece of Batman media, that he's just not killing Joker because he foolishly believes that the Joker can get better. But in these movies, why is Jared Leto still with this horrible laugh, sounding like a seagull, awful. Sorry, I'm holding onto a ball too long. Michelle,
pass it, because my thing is Joker. No, just for everyone, my biggest concerns are all the extra crap, because it feels like all the extra things that Zack Snyder put in, like these cameo moments, these after credit businesses, this random nightmare and is just his way to either punish the fans straight up because here's these things you can never have, or just like, you executives, I'm gonna make everyone riot because now we have that stupid restore the Snyderverse. And like, I didn't think the Snyder Cut was going to happen, so I also don't think the restore the Snyderverse is going to happen. I don't think they're going to turn around just because some crazy internet fans are like riled up again, be like, yeah, let's make 4 more movies. That's crazy. So the actual issue in that is why is Deathstroke here doing his thing? Why is like the whole nightmare sequence that happens? Why? The movie's over. It doesn't add anything. It's not you don't need to set up this extended universe because it's not happening. So let us just live with the universe that just happened, because all I hear people talking about the Snyderverse is this extra crap, not the actual movie. So why didn't you just put that out and save everyone, what is it, like $200 million or whatever the cost was to make this extended version, and just give us this like weird fan servicey thing? I just don't get the intention behind it. It bothers me. And this is a completely random, but still also there. Why does Mira have an accent? That's it.
Oh yeah, why did you say British?
Why? Why? Where did that come from? I don't get it. But I had to throw that in there because she's in that stupid nightmare sequence, and I think it looks visually cool. It's stupid, and I hate it. Passing the ball, Lou. Go ahead.
I don't doubt that. It's like the Zack Snyder experience is all visual and no meat.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that's very last sequence, the dream sequence, is I don't know why Zack Snyder did that, knowing that there will be no more Snyderverse, like Michelle was saying, tease, and it was also kind of released in public what that was supposed to be. It had to do something with Batman and Lois getting married, right? And they had a kid, and Lois died.
A boink.
Like, what?
They were supposed to. Sorry, it's coming back to me for a sec. Apparently, like in this movie, while Superman was dead, Batman and Lois were supposed to have banged. Like that's a whole trip. And then also Zack Snyder said that in another version of it, Superman and Lois Lane have a kid and they name him Bruce Kent and he becomes a new Batman. As if there's not already 101 people lined up to be Batman. Give me all the Robins. What are you doing? Yeah. So you're welcome for that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he also wrote this, right? Did he have a co-writer?
He had a co-writer. I don't remember who it is, but he had a co-writer.
But of course, Zack Snyder's voice is the louder voice, and that was.
Well, he's just going off on interviews, being like, "This is what this meant." And we're like, "Where did you get that from? Why is that the like?" Sorry, it's coming back. I'm stealing the ball back. Like, that was a great idea, Alex, and I'm just too spicy for that today. But Zack Snyder's like popping off in interviews, spouting nonsense about this Snyderverse and what it was going to be. And his whole thing is he really, really wants Batman involved in Lois Lane and Superman's relationship. Like that's his whole thing he was talking about. So at first he was going to have them bang, so then Superman would come back mad at Batman. So now his new thing, because this was like shown in the vision of Superman joining Darkseid, where he's holding like the corpse, that's supposed to be Lois, and Batman was supposed to have like not saved her properly because he didn't sacrifice himself. So instead, the Flash was going to go back in time and he was going to tell Batman, "You got to sacrifice yourself for Lois Lane, or else Superman's going to go evil." Like, why are you spouting off in an interview about this? Like, it's over, man. It's over. You could have just like walked away and been like, "I did the Snyder cut, we're good." But you're just being crazy now.
I'm just gonna repeat my last point about his contempt for Superman. It's like so bad that he wants to cuck out Superman as well. That's it. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Not wrong.
I mean, yeah, he just doesn't. He doesn't like the old truth, justice, and tolerance. I think they changed it to.
Did they?
I believe they changed it to. Yeah, I think they changed it this week. Truth, justice, and tolerance. Yeah, instead of the American way, because we all know the American way lost its way a while ago.
Yeah,
we know what the American way is.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Just like that.
Are we done with our thumbs down? Because I can continue.
I think we're still keep the circle going. I think
all right.
Just keep going.
Okay. I've got another one. Let me start by saying during the Nintendo 64 era of video games, there was this thing where a lot of video games would use this fog in the background because they couldn't process these video games
to hide
process backgrounds. Yeah, exactly. To hide things. Yeah. And like this movie feels like that. Like it's so drab and dark. Like the nightmare scene, like there's all this like just desert area. There's nothing in the background. And I feel like that has partly to do with it. Same with the climax in this completely deserted Russian city, wherever it was, with like nobody there. That's another thing. There were no stakes at all in that climax. Like,
goodbye, little family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, at least Joss Whedon got that one right. But yeah, that's just a visual thing where since it's so drab and so dark, it doesn't surprise me there's a Justice League Gray now. But it just visually really muddled, and nothing really popped out to me except for when the visual effects were taking place.
Didn't we watch the Justice League Gray? Like, isn't that what we watched? Yeah. How is it grayer than that?
They were, oh my God, they were, and that's another thing, is that they released a Justice League Gray. Like, to Alex's point where they're hiding things, they're even hiding more things by making everything gray. So apparently you can concentrate on the story more, which was already not the best to begin with. Right?
Do you really want to draw more attention to the lack of story? Because like the story is pretty weak. Like it's better, but it's not like, you know, this is like Destiny, the video game story. Like, where's it at? I'm not seeing it. Is it in the DLC? Because that's what it seems like to me. It's in all the extra scenes. That was a weird reference. Sorry if nobody got that.
Another thing that really, really bugged me about this is the aspect ratio. And I understand that this format was made for IMAX, meaning it's sort of taller, so you see more at the top. But hey, listen, my TV is not IMAX. My TV is wide. I know you did that as an artistic thing to let people feel like they're in IMAX, but IMAX is like an insane experience that needs to be seen on, guess what? IMAX screens. This was released on TV to the general public with widescreens. So what the Zack Snyder?
I will say that last night or 2 nights ago, I watched Rear Window from 1954, Alfred Hitchcock movie, and that was like a full screen thing. And no joke, my girlfriend and I we agreed that this looked way better than Justice League.
I love that movie.
It did. Yeah, it's an amazing movie, and it looks incredible. It looks great. Yeah. Yeah, it somehow looks better. It looks, everything was clearer. There was no confusion. Then again, it was only like one set, but still, like you know, why complicate things? It worked. It worked.
I think, like, I don't know if I disliked the movie overall. Let's be real. I disliked it. If I hadn't seen the first one, I would have just been like, this movie's shit. The thing that I don't understand about DC is they're killing it with the animated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do one of those stories for real, live action, because you want the dark. You have darker animated stuff. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't know the name of it, but the one where Wonder Woman kills Mira, like that whole side trip. I think it's one of the Flashpoint ones.
Flashpoint.
That's wildly dark. That's crazy. If you want that, like, why are you trying to make this new? I don't know. Like they're obviously telling a story from the comic, but like, why are you messing with it so much? Just like let it exist and just make it in live action. It shouldn't be this hard to mess up comic book movies, in my opinion. It's like you got the panel and you put the panel on the screen and you tell the actor, you stand there and you stand there, and we do the same thing. Like, you know, Zack Snyder's done it before. We've seen it in Watchmen. He could do shot for shot from a graphic novel, no freaking problem, still make it really good. Like watch our reader watch video about Watchmen. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's fully doable. Why did he just like is his head so big that he's like, I'm better than all of these things, I'm better than this, I know Superman better, I can portray everything better. I don't know why I just have such a hatred for Zack Snyder. I blame him for all of it. And I don't know if that's fair or not, but that's where I'm at.
Just to add to that, I'm pretty much a big Marvel fan, but when it comes to like animation, Marvel stuff is garbage, and the DC stuff is amazing. I love the DC animated stuff so much. I can watch it over and over again. In fact, right after watching the Snyder cut, I think it was the day after, Justice League, I think War came out on TV, and I think that's the that version of the movie, right? And it was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was like, which was funny because I had a little high of the Justice League. I'm like, oh, it was kind of good. And then I saw the animated one, and I was like, all right, yeah, no, this animated one is way better.
It really is night and day. The one hopefully positive we'll get out of this is that Zack Snyder maybe not relinquishes the reins, but is forced to relinquish the reins and pass on the Justice League filming to a more, you know, I don't want to say competent director, but someone more fitted to DC comics adaptations, because like we already supposedly we still have Flashpoint coming, and Black Adam, there's no stopping that. The Rock's latest movie vehicle. So I mean, why not give it to another director for Justice League something else? Like just call it some other Justice League thing, you know. So start from brand new. Like it honestly, it can only, you know, get better from here. That's where it's at.
Absolutely, just give it to somebody new, somebody, you know, creative that knows the comics really well, but it's also a very competent writer or director that I'm sure they can bring gold home, you know.
So are we done being negative Nancy's now? I mean, or Michelle, I'm looking at you.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I think I'm
right.
okay. I don't want to rain any more hate down on myself. So
you know what? I just thought of one last thing. The scene. Sorry, no, I was just thinking the scene because it was really touching and I liked it. Wonder Woman talking to that little girl. The little girl said, I want to be you when I grow up. And Wonder Woman said, you can be whatever you want. Right? That was great. I love it. I thought it exemplified Wonder Woman, but I also thought there's no way Zack Snyder enjoyed filming that. There's no way.
He didn't slow-mo it, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She literally just blasted one dude out of a wall just to kill him and just cause mass destruction. And she says this sweet thing to this little girl who she's probably in reality would have been covered in blood. But
that was my comment. I was like, this poor girl is traumatized for life. She just saw a dude get disintegrated from a sonic blast. Like, I want to be you and murder people.
Exactly. So let's move on to our favorite scenes. Where to begin? I'll start. The Flash at the end running where he just like reverses time. Yeah.
That was my favorite scene.
Yeah, no, that was I mean, can it get better than that? It could. Michelle?
Can't get better than Ooh. Yeah, no, I think that was sorry. Nope, never mind. Absolutely not. The Themyscira scene with the mother box and how they sealed all the ladies in there to fight that whole, and then the horse chase. And all of that sequence was so long and drawn out and just badass ladies being badass. And I adored it. That was my favorite scene by far. There was, and I wish I remembered the line, but there was something about fear. And it was just like,
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember the line, but yeah.
I wish I remembered it because it was so, I remember like as I'm watching, I'm like, yes, you do it. And it was really, that got me hyped, but it happened so early on in the movie that honestly, by the end of the movie, I forgot that was from the same movie. I was like, was that from Wonder Woman? So that scene for sure was really awesome.
I was gonna go with my absolute favorite scene was the Flash, like that going back in time thing where just like go faster than the speed of light, and he does it. The running still looks stupid, by the way, but it was a great scene. Another one scene that really stood out to me was Mira, kind of blood bending. If you are a fan of the Last Airbender, that was a really cool scene too.
And big ups to the Superman versus Justice League scene. I still enjoyed it. It was the best part of the previous movie, and it's still, it remained intact for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, which is also involves Flash. He was just trying to get to Superman, and Superman just kind of just like, I see
turn and
you.
look.
Yeah.
That was a great scene. Yeah.
I will say as well, which I didn't say this in the things I liked, but you guys kind of did. Cyborg. And just the extra things we saw from him, I was very pleased with. Overall, I didn't dislike really any extra scene or anything that he was part of. Though I am just generally sad because I know the actor probably won't be part of the MCU anymore. Just due to all like
there.
Yeah, all the huge controversy there, and like that really sucks. Watching the movie, that honestly was all I could think of. I'm like, damn, like you got super cut out, and all this happened. Now you're back in, but you're not going to actually be back in. And I hope he does well and lands on his feet. And I'm sure he will, but I just like sending him good vibes. That's where I'm at.
Which really sucks because I think that movie perfectly set up the Cyborg solo movie.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen now. And he was great as Cyborg. It would have been something that I would have looked forward to, is his solo movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, y'all just reminded me of maybe possibly my least favorite scene in the movie, where Cyborg just says, I forgot what the setup was, but Cyborg just says, the world. My eyes just like look like a jackpot just spinning in my head. I was not a fan of that one, but otherwise I get it. You're upset, you're emo, etc.
They had to do they had to one up the Batman in Titans.
In Titans, yeah.
That's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do that too.
The world.
The world is this is bigger.
The world.
The world is bigger than Batman. It's a world. This is kind of going back, and maybe somebody can help me out with this scene. But what was the point of the Martian throughout the whole thing? I'm like, maybe I'm not seeing it right. There's just something here that literally it's kind of the world is gonna end as we know it, and the Martian just kind of, is observing everything.
Yeah.
Hey, you're one of the more powered heroes out there. You just change shape and just be like, oh, Lois, you're the best. We need you. You're key. Someone explain that to me. Otherwise, it was just really dumb.
Like Michelle said earlier, just absolutely shoehorned. It really felt just sloppy and lazy, just having him there. Like Lois and Martha had a touching moment. Emotional resolution happened there, but it was immediately taken away by the reveal that there's a whole that tricky Martian. Oh boy, yeah. Maybe if it was Mr. Mixelplitz, I would have liked that. But
they're using him as the Skrull of the DC universe. I just had to say that for you.
They really are. Yes.
Skrulls.
Skrulls. The Skrulls.
If we're talking about our least favorite scenes, I don't know if that's where we were at, but I've gotta give the special why to the slow-mo car crash splash at the dog park.
Oh my god.
What movie was that from that did not belong? It felt very much like this. I know this isn't actually what happened. The timeline doesn't make sense, but it felt like Zack Snyder's like, you know what? People really like Quicksilver and they're disappointed about WandaVision. Let's do a little bit of that here and just not do it good. Because that's what it felt like. It felt like this really it was so, I didn't get what it was meant to serve. Like, I get that's his love interest, but like who's she? He never talks about her. Did he get the job at the dog place? Like what was that for? And I get maybe it was to add a little levity and a little humor, but it didn't. It just felt really awkward.
Yeah.
A 5-second scene with her would have been as effective as that whole thing with hot dogs and dick jokes. And Zack Snyder was like, boner joke, eh? Hold my beer. I'm gonna show you visually what I'm gonna do with that boner joke.
I think he did one up that WandaVision finale there.
They just mentioned a boner. I'm gonna use some hot dogs in the air.
And I think we have to score it. We have the dubious honor of scoring this movie out of 10. I'll get the ball rolling. I have to give it 2 different scores because the way I felt after first watching it is definitely different than the way I feel now. Right after watching it, it was like 6.5 to 7 out of 10. I really got caught up in it. Then again, after 4 hours, how can't you? But after thinking about it like a week later, it definitely dropped down to like a 4.5 out of 10. It's nothing. If I hear Zack Snyder was making another one, I would run like it was the plague. I wouldn't want anything to do with it.
Same. If we're gonna go the route of like the initial viewing of it, I was super hyped up, especially during the like the last scene, like during the near the end, that flash scene got me. I gave it a 7, and like you, a week later, especially having watched the animated Justice League War, 4.5.
Yeah. Now Michelle.
I think I'm gonna be nicer, to be honest. No, I know this is crazy to be like I hate it, but I'm gonna give it a good rating. No, when I first watched it, I was so excited afterwards because I totally fell for the nightmare scene and like I was like, oh, whoa, that's so cool. Like, when do we see that? And like, that's gonna be awesome. Sorry, my dog's freaking out. I'm like, but when are we gonna see that? Like, Jared Leto's Joker's garbage, but I want to see these things come together. Like, I like that. I fall for the fan service. It works on me. So I was like, yeah, so good. And then every day I realized, oh no, this is it. And every time that came through my brain, it dropped a point. So now it's like a 2 because every day I realized, oh, we're not gonna actually get any answers to these. So it's just like a really I feel like this movie just gave me serious nerd blue balls. Like that's where I'm at.
That's a perfect way to put it.
At least there were no CGI mustaches.
How do they like in comic terms, they have, and I'm a Marvel fan, they have the most iconic comic book characters. Like probably top 7 of the top 10 is probably DC characters. And then they can't translate it to film, and I don't understand why. It's just the politics or the studios, or I don't know, man.
But they have, though. That's the thing that I don't understand, because it's, if we look at all the movies, they have made good DC movies. Like, they've existed. They just can't get the universe. Like, the universe is just not working, because for my opinion, like, the Dark Knight movies are sick. Like, those are great movies. They're up there. They're up there with my favorite comic book movies, just in general. But like, where did that go? Where's that energy that we were bringing to those? Like, why didn't they just, not that you had to keep Christian Bale, but keep that tone of the universe, because that was darker, that did kind of have those vibes. Like, why where's that? It's by the wayside, and we're creating this new thing, and I don't get why it's gone so wrong when it was going so right for a while.
I like, my theory is that, well, I do think that they just try to rush right into these things, like, and like the focal point should have been Superman from the get-go, like establish him.
I agree 1000%.
Get everyone to love him, get everyone to cry at his death instead of burying it in a climax in a very forgettable movie. There's a lot wrong, and it started with Man of Steel. Like, I particularly don't have anything wrong, like anything against him killing Zod, but the fact that he doesn't struggle with it afterwards, it's just like, oh, on to the next thing. And then in the next movie, oh, he's an icon, everyone loves him, without showing that why people love him. There's nothing at all like that. Like there was that one scene in Batman vs Superman with the Day of the Dead, everyone reaching out to Superman, and it's like Zack Snyder cares more about these visual metaphors and these special effects than telling the story, than bringing heart to it. I think he just thinks it's lame. He just wants, like I said, he doesn't like Superman. He just wants a Superman that just breaks stuff, like the Limp Bizkit song, "Break Stuff."
And it's just also consistency. I mean, when I first saw the first Wonder Woman, I was like, oh my God, this is great. Finally, some good stuff.
Yeah.
And then you go Wonder Woman 1984, and I was like, what the is this shit? Like, it's a complete 180. But to your point, also, if you've seen like, you know how you're describing Superman, go watch the Superman and Lois series.
I will. I love him. I love Superman.
It's so good. He grabbed, like, the things you described as Superman, they're doing in that series. And I'm like, first episode, I was like, whoa, this is good. Second episode, this is good. And I'm like, third episode, okay, they gotta up somewhere, right? And it's still good. Episode 4, and it's still good. I'm like, oh my God, I actually am loving a Superman series right now. And it's not the same reason as I watched Smallville, which was just for Kristen Crook.
No.
What? Smallville was so good. So good. And like, my favorite ever Green Arrow in that was just childhood crush. I used to come home every day from high school, and I used to watch that, and then Supernatural came on after.
It was a good Thursday night. Smallville.
Same. Smallville's like holds a special place in my heart.
But yeah, I know we're going on a rant here, but if you people want a good new Superman show, go watch Superman and Lois. It's amazing.
I think we're pretty much proving that, like, all three of us, like, we really enjoy, and we have aspects of the DC universe that we love and want to see that on screen in a big movie like the Justice League. They're just not getting it right for.
They're not delivering.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say, like, you guys are Marvel fans. I grew up a DC fan. Like, my dad's a DC fan. My first ever comic books were DC comic books. Like, I want DC to do well so badly, and it breaks my heart every damn time, which is why, like, Wonder Woman was good, and I'm like, that's my movie forever. It's my favorite movie of all the comic book movies, because I want it to do so well. But just for everyone out there, like, I grew up on DC. I want it to do well. It breaks my heart it doesn't, but it does have the better video games. So there's that. The new Arkham Knights or whatever, it got delayed till 2022. So I'm gonna cry now.
Well, I guess that's it. We've covered a lot. We've cried. We've raged.
We bared our souls.
Yeah, and now it's time for us to take the blood pressure down off camera. So if you disagree, for those out there who disagree, please leave a comment. Just try to convince us, why Zack Snyder's Justice League is such a hit for you, because I'm really curious as to like why a DC Comics fan would stand by it and just ship it so much. But yeah, like, subscribe, follow us, and thank you for joining us. I'm Alex. I was joined by Lou and Michelle.
Bye.
Take care, folks.
Hello, goodbye.